So, what's up guys? Alex here. Today we're doing something a little different. We spend so much time talking about individual phones, comparing specs, camera tests, battery life. You know the drill. But sometimes it's worth zooming out to look at the bigger picture. The smartphone in your pocket is the result of a massive global industry, with companies from all over the world competing for that top spot. So today, let's take a look at some of the top mobile phone makers from around the world. We're going to break down who they are, where they come from, and what makes them a major player in this incredibly competitive space. The way we're going to do this is pretty straightforward. We're going on a world tour, but for tech. I've organized this list by country to give you a sense of which nations are the heavy hitters in the mobile phone game. You'll see some familiar names, maybe a few you haven't thought about in a while, and we'll see how different regions have their own unique approaches to building the devices we use every single day. It's a fascinating landscape, constantly shifting with new innovations and market trends. From the giants that dominate headlines to the brands that carved out specific niches, each one has a story. It's not just about market share, it's about influence, design philosophy, and the impact they've had on the entire tech ecosystem. Think of this as a global census of the most important phone makers right now. It's a look at the companies that define what a smartphone is in 2025. All right, enough talk. Let's get into it. All right, first stop, no surprise here, the United States and specifically Cupertino, California. We have to talk about Apple. It's impossible to discuss the modern smartphone landscape without putting Apple front and center. With the iPhone, they didn't just create a successful product, they fundamentally redefined the entire category. Their influence is massive, setting trends in design, user interface with iOS, and the whole concept of an app ecosystem with the App Store. They've built this incredibly powerful walled garden that millions of users don't want to leave. Their strategy has always been about premium hardware, seamlessly integrated with their own software. You're not just buying a phone, you're buying into the Apple ecosystem. Things like iMessage, FaceTime, and AirDrop create a sticky experience that keeps users locked in, and their focus on privacy and security has become a major selling point. Every year, the new iPhone launch is a global event, and their A-series chips consistently set the benchmark for mobile performance. Love them or hate them, Apple's control over both hardware and software gives them an advantage that few can match, making them a titan of the industry. Next, we fly over to South Korea to talk about the other undisputed giant in the room, Samsung. If Apple represents the curated, closed ecosystem, Samsung is all about giving you options. They are a true powerhouse in smartphone technology, not just for their own phones, but as a supplier for the entire industry. That beautiful OLED screen on your phone? There's a very good chance Samsung made it. They are leaders in display technology, camera sensors, and memory chips, which gives them a huge edge when building their own Galaxy devices. Samsung's approach is to throw everything at the wall and see what sticks, and honestly, it works for them. They have a phone at nearly every price point, from the budget-friendly A-series to the flagship S-series. And of course, they've pioneered the foldable market with the Z Fold and Z Flip. They were the ones who really pushed the boundaries of what's possible with Android, popularizing large screens, stylus support with the Note series, and now, making foldables a mainstream reality. Their ability to innovate on the hardware front is second to none, and they remain the biggest Android manufacturer on the planet for a reason. Now we head to China, which has become a dominant force in the smartphone world. And we have to start with Huawei. For a while there, Huawei's rise was absolutely meteoric. They were on a clear trajectory to become the #1 smartphone maker in the world, thanks to their incredible hardware, particularly their camera systems co-engineered with Leica. Their phones were pushing the boundaries of mobile photography with things like insane zoom capabilities and low-light performance that was years ahead of the competition. Of course, their story took a dramatic turn due to geopolitical tensions and the US trade ban, which cut off their access to Google mobile services and key chip technologies. This was a massive blow to their international presence. However, they haven't given up. In China, they've pivoted to their own Harmony OS and are still a major player. They continue to innovate in areas like satellite connectivity and foldable technology. Huawei's journey is a powerful example of incredible engineering facing immense external challenges, and their resilience keeps them a company to watch closely. Sticking around in China, let's talk about Xiaomi. If you're looking for a brand that has totally mastered the art of offering incredible specs for the price, this is it. Xiaomi built its reputation as a flagship killer, offering phones with top-tier processors and features for a fraction of what the big guys were charging. Their business model was, honestly, kind of genius: low margins on hardware, an online-first sales strategy, and building a massive loyal community of fans through their MIUI Android skin. They've since expanded far beyond that initial model. Now you can find Xiaomi phones everywhere, from their high-end numbered series that go head-to-head with Samsung and Apple, to their super popular Redmi and Poco sub-brands that just dominate the budget and mid-range segments. They're not just a phone company either. They've got a massive ecosystem of connected devices, from smartwatches and TVs to electric scooters and even air purifiers. This value-for-money DNA is still at the core of their brand, making them a go-to choice for millions of consumers around the globe. Our third stop in China is Oppo. While they might be part of the same parent company as a few other brands on this list, BBK Electronics, Oppo has carved out its own distinct identity, and that identity is super focused on the camera. For years, Oppo has been at the forefront of mobile imaging technology. They were pioneers in things like pop-up selfie cameras to achieve a true full-screen display. And they've consistently pushed the envelope with periscope zoom lenses and advanced image processing. Their Shot on Oppo campaigns really highlight this focus, and they've invested heavily in their own imaging NPUs, like the Mary Silicon X, to get the absolute best performance out of their camera hardware. Beyond cameras, they're also known for their super-fast charging technology, VOOC charging, which was honestly one of the first and fastest on the market. Their designs are often sleek and stylish, with a premium feel even in their mid-range Reno series. Oppo represents a relentless pursuit of innovation in key areas that users care about most. And our final major stop in China is Vivo, another key brand from the BBK Electronics family. If Oppo is all about the camera, Vivo is about pushing the boundaries of design and feature innovation across the board. They were one of the very first companies to introduce an in-display fingerprint scanner, a feature that's now standard on almost every OLED phone. That was a huge deal at the time, and it really showed their willingness to take risks on new, unproven technologies to create a better user experience. They've continued that trend with concepts like gimbal stabilization built directly into the main camera for incredibly smooth video, and their Apex concept phones, which showcase futuristic ideas like a portless, buttonless design. Their partnership with Zeiss for camera lens technology on their flagship X series phones also shows a serious commitment to imaging quality. Vivo has a knack for being first to market with cool, headline-grabbing features, cementing their reputation as one of the most forward-thinking and innovative players in the game. Okay, so let's leave China and head over to Japan to talk about a true legend in the electronics world, Sony. Sony's history in mobile is, long and storied, going way back to the Sony Ericsson days. While their market share isn't what it used to be, they've totally refused to quit the smartphone game. Instead, they've carved out a very specific, high-end niche for themselves. Their Xperia phones are built for creators and enthusiasts, leveraging the immense expertise from their other divisions, like their Alpha camera team and their audio and display divisions. You really see this in their products. Xperia phones are often the only ones with features like a 4K display, a 3.5mm headphone jack with high-res audio support, and pro-level camera apps that mimic the interface of a Sony Alpha camera. They don't really follow trends, they just build the phone they think their core audience wants. It's a tall, narrow device with a focus on media consumption and creation. It's a very Sony approach, and for the people who get it, there's really no other phone like an Xperia. Alright, for our next stop we're going to Europe, specifically Finland, for a name that will bring back a lot of memories: Nokia. For an entire generation, Nokia was the mobile phone. They were the undisputed king, known for their indestructible hardware, insane battery life, and iconic designs. The Nokia 3310 is a cultural icon for a reason. Their fall from grace during the initial smartphone boom is a well-documented business case study, but the story doesn't end there. The Nokia brand made a comeback under HMD Global, a Finnish company that now designs and sells Nokia-branded phones. Their strategy has been to lean into their heritage clean, stock Android software, reliable build quality, and a focus on security and timely updates. They offer a range of devices, from ultra-budget phones to solid mid-rangers. While they haven't recaptured their former glory, the new Nokia has found a respectable place in the market by offering a no-nonsense, dependable Android experience, keeping that legendary Finnish name alive in the 21st century. Now let's head to Taiwan to talk about a true pioneer of the Android ecosystem, HTC. In the early days of Android, HTC was right there at the top with Samsung. They made the very first commercially available Android phone, the T-Mobile G1 or the HTC Dream. They were known for their fantastic build quality, often using premium metal unibody designs long before others, and their HTC Sense software was for a long time considered one of the best Android skins out there. Their influence on the design and feel of early Android phones is undeniable. Phones like the HTC One M7 and M8 are still regarded as some of the most beautiful devices ever made. Unfortunately, intense competition from Samsung and Chinese brands saw their market share dwindle significantly. While they still release a few phones here and there, often focused on their VR ecosystem, their glory days in the mainstream smartphone market are behind them. Still, their legacy as a foundational pillar of Android's history is secure. For our final stop, we're going to one of the biggest and fastest growing smartphone markets in the world, India. And here, we have to talk about Micromax. For a period, Micromax was the top smartphone vendor in India, successfully challenging the international giants. Their strategy was to offer feature-packed phones at incredibly aggressive prices, tailored specifically to the needs and desires of the Indian consumer. They understood the local market better than anyone. They were known for offering phones with huge batteries, dual SIM capabilities, and localized content and apps. However, the arrival and explosive growth of Chinese brands like Xiaomi and Oppo, with their massive scale and supply chain advantages, put immense pressure on Micromax. They've since attempted a comeback with a new series of phones, playing on a nationalist made-in-India sentiment. Their journey reflects the intense and dynamic nature of the Indian smartphone market, showing how a local hero can rise, face challenges, and fight to reclaim its position. So there you have it, a quick trip around the world looking at some of the companies that build the tech we carry with us everywhere. These are just a few of the major mobile phone makers shaping the industry today. From the duopoly of Apple and Samsung, to the sheer manufacturing power of the Chinese brands and the legacy players who've carved out new niches, it's a complex and fascinating ecosystem. Each brand brings its own philosophy, strengths, and history to the table, and that competition is what pushes innovation forward for all of us. The landscape is always changing. Brands that were on top a decade ago are barely around now, and new players are always emerging. The rise of foldables, advancements in AI, and the constant push for better cameras and battery life mean this list could look very different in just a few years. It's one of the most exciting spaces in all of tech to follow, and it directly impacts the device you probably use more than any other. It's a story of global innovation, intense competition, and national pride, all playing out in the palm of your hand. But that's my breakdown of the global players. Now I want to hear from you. Which brand do you use and why did you choose it? Is it the ecosystem, the camera, the value, or just brand loyalty? What country do you think is making the best phones right now? Let us know in the comments below. I'm genuinely curious to see what the MKBHD community is rocking these days. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the